Hello and welcome back. So we'll be continuing with our tutorial series, and here we go. So we'll continue with the roof. So to roof the building, I'm going to go to the south elevation. So in creating my roof, you notice that I've created my roof cornice first, and so the roof is not starting exactly on the roof point. So some people may decide at this point to draw another roof level. So I'll select this, type CS, and then just click here and click here, and then go to modify, click on align AL, select this as the destination point and click on this. So this is my actual roof level, and this here is the base of the wall, or just before the roof fascia, concrete roof fascia level is. So I have to rename these two levels. So here I can put this as the roof fascia. And here I can put this as the roof level. So to edit this, you just need to double click on the text area, double click this way and it changes. Double click beneath and it changes the dimensions too. So I can go to level 4 roof level, turn on my underlay, make sure nothing is selected, go to underlay, click just beside it and set it to roof fascia level, so it can give you the edge of the roof level. So I go to architecture, under build, click on roof. There is an arrow down. There are many ways to draw a roof, but we're going to start with the roof by footprint. I'm going to click on it. From our template, we have some 10 roof, 5 mm roof thickness, though I'm trying to gauge it as either a stone coated or aluminum roof. Click on it. And then on the overhang here, you might decide to do that, but I won't do it on the overhang. Because I'm not clicking on walls. I'm going to click on peak lines. There are different ways to draw a roof. I'm going to use this particular one, peak lines. I'm going to select an offset. The roofing sheet always covers the concrete fascia. Let's say 50 mm, 25 mm. So I'm just going to set an offset of 25 mm over these edges I'm picking. So I'm just going to scroll down, zoom in here, click on this. You can see that slight offset of the roof over that space. So if you use tab to select it, as long as it's a continuous line, it's going to select everything at the same time. But I'm just running this right away. So when I'm done, there is something I forgot to do. I forgot to set. So there's something I forgot to set, and that is the roof slope. So by default, it's 30 degrees under dimensions. You can see it here. You can still set it afterwards. If I needed to adjust any particular one or to turn any one off, like if I double click on this, just to go back to the edit mode, double clicking on floor, roof, ceiling, wall will take you to the edit mode. If I select each angle, there is a small, each line, there is a small detail about the angle there, as you can see it here. So you can adjust each angle, and there are a lot of settings, but for now, I'm just going to click Finish Sketch, and I'll go to the 3D view. And I've been able to roof my building, floor, wall, ceiling, floor walls to the roof. I didn't put in my ceiling there, but you can create a ceiling the same way you create your floor slab, and you can create it maybe on the ceiling level. Like, let's say for example, on the first floor, I can go to the first floor and first floor ceiling under ceiling plant and click on ceiling sketch. Now by default, if you click on edit type, although there is some kind of ceiling there, by default there is an offset, height offset from the first floor you can give the ceiling. And there are two ways to place ceiling: automatic ceilings that can be placed in enclosed space, and ceiling sketch. So if I click on sketch ceiling, I can sketch the ceiling the same way I would a floor. So and I can do that on the internal spaces from the wall beam all the way through the space. So I'm just clicking the sketch through the internal spaces, through the internal walls, because if you're doing your ceiling will be on the internal walls, since we use the concrete fascia on the external. So I just did that, and I will set the offset here maybe 3,150 based on what I want the offset to be from the ground floor. And this is the ceiling I just created at 3,150. There is this little gap between it here and this, so I might use the align tool. I'm just checking this out if it's a vertical difference, which I think it is. So I use the align tool, select this base, and align both of them. So if I select the ceiling, now is something important to note. See, I'm trying to click on this ceiling right here. It's not clicking. You need to go to the edge of the ceiling and you need to allow it to show. So it's at 3.3. That's the offset of the ceiling. So I've created the ceiling, and you can see it's selected, so you can see it in light blue all over the first floor. I can still do that if I wanted in the ground floor also, in areas where I need it to be. So I need to put in some slabs here to cover up this section, and then I also need to raise the walls around here based on the design I want to create around this section for the roof. So I'll go ahead and do both of them. For now, I'm going to create a slab. So I'm creating a slab that is not necessarily on any floor. So it depends on me whether I want to work on the roof floor fascia or I want to work on the first floor. But I prefer to work on the roof fascia floor. So I'll go to the level 3. And then for these two slabs, this one here and this one here, those are the ones I want to create there. I click on architecture, click on floor. I think, okay. Sometimes you might click on floor to modify it, and things might not work out like this. You just need to come back to this modify, create floor boundary, click on it. I'll click on line. I'll use rectangle now to do that, because I just want to create a rectangular space here and another rectangular space here. After I've done that, you can set the height offset to maybe, if you already know, maybe let's say -600, because you are creating it on a level below. You can say don't attach for now. So this is the floor levels I created. Well, I might change my mind, and let me see if I click on it, double click on it. If I say finish, it will ask me to attach. I might say attach. Let me see what happens. I'll say detach target. So it gave me a lot of errors with some other walls, but there are some walls I wanted it to attach to, which it did. Like, you can see how clean it is now. For this other section, I would prefer these walls to come up a little bit. And like I said, I wanted to put some pipes here. I might also want to stop this roof eaves I created initially in between these 2 points. So let's start with that one first. So I'm going to double click on it to edit. It's going to take me to the edit mode immediately. And I'll double click on it again to take me to the sketch mode. And if I double click on it again, it's going to take me to the sketch part mode. So I don't really need to do anything, just double clicking and it works. So what I want to do is I'm stopping the concrete roof eave here. So I'm going to split the line. Click on split, make sure delete inner segment is on. I'll click one edge here, and then I'll click the other edge here, and then the inner edge is deleted. So this is what I have in mind for the elevation. I'll click finish, it stops here. And this is good. Then I'll draw a wall on this level up the way. So I'm going to go to the roof fascia level on this floor. WA is a shortcut for wall. Make sure the right wall is selected, and then I'm going to draw this. Sorry, I want to undo a minute because I didn't set the heights properly. So when the wall is selected, I'll make sure it's not depth that is turned on, but height. And I'll make sure that the offsets are at 0, and I won't just set the height at, let's say, 1.2 meters for now. So I'm going to draw these walls on this level. I've done the walls just to increase, give credence to the front elevation. So something of this sort is what I'm hoping to do. And we would have a slab here, and then we put 2 water collectors here, so the roof gutters come there. I didn't intend for, my intention is not for these walls to go this deep. Let me see if I can just bring it back. So I try as much as I can when possible to avoid walls and roof conflict, because in the long run, it's just going to be issues on sites. So I've tried to pull the walls back. This is just my design philosophy. I like designing without issues to build. So what I've just done now is I'll do this way. We have a slab here. We have water collector here going into this point, and any water that finds its way anywhere on this slab, you just put a drain to collect it into one of these places. So I'm just trying to reduce all the stress. I might edit this wall in such a way that it goes to this point, but that's all, not above the roof. So I think this is fair for me. And then this wall is 1.2. It's a good height. If you want to make it 1.5, fine. But for me, I think 1.2 is good. Let me just try 1.5. Seeming too tall. So I'm going to edit the wall. So go to right elevation, double click on it. And this is just what I want to do. So I've done that here. I can do this, just adjust the view a little bit. I use the shift and the center button in my cursor, that scroll button, to be able to maneuver the elevations. It's not a bad thing to work in 3D in Revit. In fact, the more comfortable you get in any modeling software, the more you are able to edit this in the software in any view you deem fit. So this is what I have planned out. The concrete fascia stops here, and then we would have a slab at the roof fascia level. So I'll click on the roof fascia level, and then I'll have a beam running across here with a slab. So architecture, go to floor architectural, height offset is 0. Make sure you always adjust your height offset. Select the floor type, maybe 150 mm, and then we can do this. So if you go underneath, you won't see any space through. Everything is covered, and so this is what I've been able to design. And for now, we can just go ahead and cut a 3D view to appreciate our work so far. So I'll go to the ground floor, natural ground level. Under this camera view, there are 2 ways to do it. You can click on view, and under view, click on this camera view down here, and you see camera. There is also a shortcut here on this icon, and the same thing, you can see the camera there. So I'll click on it just at an angle that will allow me cut. I'll click. I'm not clicking and dragging, just click once, move your mouse so that this triangle is within the building, and then cut the view. So I typed SD for shaded view of my building, and then with the shift button and the center part of my cursor, I'm just rotating the view to show you my building so far. Can turn on the shadow to appreciate it more, and then I can also crop the view as I deem fit. So this is how my building is beginning to look. I still have some additions to make with regards to the touches on the elevation. So I'll go ahead and make those ones, and then after that I will now carry on with the finishing of the elevation, site works, and the rest. So I want to add some finishing touches and copings and stuff like that around here to make it look more classical, give it a very unique classical feel. So let's begin. So we'll begin by going to architecture, click on components, clicking on model in place, selecting caseworks as the case may be. I'll just save this as elevation cornices. So it depends. So we use sweep to do this. We'll click on solid sweep. We're on elevation. So once you click on sketch part, it's going to ask you to pick a plane. Click on OK. Once you take your mouse to the edge of a wall on the particular plane you want to work on, you are going to see a highlight around the edge of that wall. So not when it's a line, be careful, when it is showing at least two highlighted edges, not just one line. If it shows one line, it takes you to a plan. Once you click, then you can be able to start sketching. It turns into a line. So I'll just sketch my lines around here to this edge and down to this edge. So one continuous line for a sketch part. I'll click finish. I'll click on edit profile, and then I'll go to the natural ground floor to turn my profile. So basically, I just want to draw something that will give me some kind of inspiration for the edges and the cornices, something that just makes it look very traditional. So I can leave this at, let's say, 200, and then just while drawing this cornice, I'm zoomed in. I can turn off this for it to be thin lines. You can have arcs. Let's say, for me personally, I would like to get the center line. So I'll use straight line. Once you come towards this midpoint, you're going to see this. And all I'm doing is just maybe having an arc here. You can use this tangent arc to continue something of this nature. Something of this sort. So it depends. This is not exactly what I have in mind, but anyway, let's go. I'll select this, click on mirror, click this, and have something of this nature. So the most important thing is that it's a continuous closed circle, and then I'll click finish. Under mode, I'll click finish. So let me use this opportunity to explain how sweep works again. You have a profile, you have a path, you sweep the profile against the path to create a model, and that's what we've just done. So with this, I'll go to south elevation, and I'll copy it around. So I'll select it, click on copy. I'll go to this edge, select an edge, and allows me to copy to this point. I also want it somewhere here, so I'll copy it to this point, and it fits perfectly. And I also want it some around the middle, so it depends on me. I can have different ones, maybe slightly much more pronounced edge for the middle. So it depends on what I want to create in the middle aspect of the design. So, but for now, let me just leave this here. Now you notice it's not on the same plane, it's behind. You can correct this. You can correct this by selecting this and click on pick new plane, and it's going to just keep hovering against each plane. So if I click on the right plane, it's going to come to it, but it will require me to edit. So I'm just going to double click again, and then use the align tool to align this to the edges. Now, it's not just the align tool. I can also use different tools to create this. So I still need to bring it down. Select this line, click it and draw it down. Select this line, click and draw it down. So this is what our model is beginning to look like. You can also select them all and apply materials to them by selecting all of them. Under material tab here by category, just click on it and this small icon that comes out here, and you can decide to apply, I'll just apply the material, the same one I applied here. And so I've been able to create something of this sort, and this is how we can use to create the rest of the elevation fillers. I can decide to add a smaller sweep edge here, just a smaller size of this. So let's try, I'll show you how to do that. I can select this, copy, bring it down. This is a lazy way to do this, but anyways, just showing you. Copy, select, uncheck constraints, and bring this down to this point. So I'll edit, double click, and all I need is to sketch part. So I'll double click on that. I'll go to the appropriate level. I might even delete the whole sketch part because I just needed it for a very short space. So from here down to this point, that's all. I'll click finish. I'll click edit profile. So I'm still going through the same process, just that I copied something else. I'll delete, or okay, I want to use this. So I'm going to just mirror. I'll click on the mirror button, but without the copy, and click this. So you can actually mirror without copying, although the default is to mirror with copy. I'll select this. I'll click on rescale. I'm using some of the tools. Select this edge, and make it smaller. Let's say 100. And then I'll click this. I'll move this to this point, and possibly I'll just make this a straight line. Delete these two edges. So I'm just giving you ways to work off Revit that may not necessarily require you starting all over again. It's not always, how will I put it? It may not always be functional, but you know, it works. So you don't necessarily need to start over all the time. I can copy this like I've done now. Double click to edit, double click to edit. Go to the roof fascia, where it is, and then I'll use the align key to align these edges. Use this line and then sketch up. So what I'm doing is, you know, filling up my elevation with one or two elements that will make it stand out. I can also do the same thing here. I've been thinking about this, whether I should just roof this building in peace here without starting to, you know, all this problem with water coming in and the rest. So I think I'm just going to do that. So for me to do that, I might decide to put another level here, or nevertheless, I'll just check. This is, I can check the height difference between here. So this is 1.2 meters from this roof fascia level. So which will give me, if I use my dimension line, let me just check the offset, 750 from the roof level. So I can come to this particular point, this roof level. Under architecture, click on roof by footprint, and I will set the base offset at 750 mm from the roof level, and then I'm going to go ahead and create the roof. Just before creating the roof, I want to be sure of this thickness of the eave. So I'm going to use a dimension line. I typed WF to go to wireframe mode. So I'm going to just check the thickness of this. I think it's not the roof I'll create first. So I'll close this up. I'm going to click on this first. So I'm using this. I'll just copy it to this point. Select, uncheck constraints, and copy it to this level. So all I need to do with this sketch I have on this roof level I'll double click to, I just want to have a sketch of the sort. So I'll press tab to select this whole line and delete it. So now when you do something like this, like copying a casework and you put in new sketch path, you notice that sometimes it can flip. What I mean by flipping is that this profile will flip the wrong way. So you can select it, come to an elevation, and make sure copy is unchecked and flip it the right way. So you can just do that. All right. So see what I've tried to do here. I'm trying to create a higher roof. So I'm just going to roof that point. And so what it means is that these two walls at the edge here will get to be taller to a certain point. And then I will now have to roof this differently. So it's a little bit different from what I had envisioned in the like some minutes ago, but I decided to change my mind. So I'll click finish, then I'll select this roof, I'll type CS, and I'll offset it by offset from base offset 750 mm. And I'll use rectangle, and I remember I did offset of 25 mm from the edge. I'm just going to use a rectangle and just put it somewhere here. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a roof at a slightly higher level from the normal roof level. I don't need this angle here, so I'm going to select it and uncheck define slope. So this is going to be a flat angle, but I need this other 3 angle. So I'm going to just allow it. It's asking me to attach walls to the roof. I don't want to, so I'm just going to click don't attach. So what I've done is I have created 2 roofs, and you can see it. There are 2 different roofs. And one is higher, one is inside the other ones. We have some intersections, and there is a way to go about cutting these 2 roofs out. I might explore that option right away. So, but for now, what I want to do is I edited these 2 walls in the past. I'll select them. If you edited the wall before you select the wall, you can reset profile, and the wall will go back to the way it was initially. So I'll select this and say reset profile, and then the wall will go back to the way it was initially. And then there is still this option of joining of roof, where you can select join, select this roof and select this roof, and it joins with a line here. So what this line does for you is that it can allow you to cut out this roof based off the join point of where you can see this big roof. So let me give you an example. So you can select this roof under architecture. You can click on vertical opening, select a roof, and then it will allow you to sketch the part of the roof where you want to have the vertical opening. So if I am on the roof plan, for example, I'll use pick line and I sketch these 2 edges, which is where the opening I want to come from. And then the edge of these walls, I think is the edge of the walls. I'll pick these 2 edge of the walls, basically. And then I'll use the trim tool to trim it, and use this line to at this edge. Make sure I get the right edge. So once I do that, there is an intersection somewhere. Fine. Once I do that and it's closed, it's going to cut out the old roof. So if I select this roof now, pay attention, it's already cut out. So this other roof you are seeing inside, all I need to do is to also select it, and then I can go to the roof level. Let me see if I go to site whether I'll see it. Fine. I'll go to site, and I can stop it exactly at this point, and then use trim to trim them. So I don't need these 2 angles, so I'll select them and make sure they are not checked. I'm going to delete this one here and click finish. So I don't want to attach. So what I've done is I've created 2 roofs. I've cut out their points of intersection, and I've joined them neatly, so you can see that between the two roofs. So, and I think this looks much more easier for me to build and manage, and without any fear of rainwater into any slab or something of that nature. And it looks simple. We can use our materials to work out some things, and yeah, we're good to go. So I'm going to Control S, save this, and we can go ahead and then draw out some of our railings on the first floor. So let's begin. I'll go to the first floor. I have quite a few balconies. I've already used some railings in this project, but to draw railings, you can go to Railings, click on Sketch Path, and then you select the type of railings based on what you have already in the template. So I have 900 mm pipe railings, and I'm just going to draw it. Your railings must be continuous lines, and you are free to edit it, set the height levels and offset. But for now, I'm going to just allow it this way. If I click Finish, the railings will form. If you select the railings and you click Section Box and View, what this does is that it cuts everything into a section box that just shows you what you just created in 3D. So that's it, and in isometric. It's a wonderful stuff. So you can see what I just created, and if I increase this, you can see where exactly it is located. So this is a very good way to do call out for details very, very quickly. So we'll get there. We'll get there. So if I want to off the section box, under Extend here, I'll come here and uncheck this, and voila, the whole building will just appear. So I'll continue with my railings, select this CS, and I have this railing around here. So I'll click this. This is supposed to stop at the edge of this wall. Finish it up. I need to extend this wall. So if this is happening, that means something is preventing this wall from extending. It could be that the wall has joined some wall up there, so which is most probably the case. So it has joined this wall here. So I can select on Join Geometry. I'll select this wall, and I'll select this wall. Oh no, it's not working. So I can decide, let me just pull it out more than the wall level, and then I want to try something with Align and see whether it's a fusing. I'll use a split tool. I'll type SL on my keyboard. I want to split this point, and I want to use the trim tool. When you have this kind of problem, now you have to improvise. I want to use the trim tool to trim it so that the wall comes out. So what happened is that it was one continuous wall, so it was finding it difficult to just attach the way it's doing now. So with this trim tool I did, you can see the wall is in the face, and these two walls are stopping this way. So with that, my railing can stop exactly where it needs to stop. Select the railing, type CS on your computer, and then we'll do this and do this. Click Finish. Then I'll continue doing that, CS, and do this. So with railings, there's, you can get, you sketch your railings for them to appear, and you place them, and then you can specify them. There are different types of railings in Revit. We have glass railings, we have steel railings. So this is just how to place railings. I've done that. All the bedrooms, the 5 bedrooms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bedrooms have balconies as per the brief there. And we can also use elements to split the walls. So there's so many things we can do in terms of making our elevation work very well for us. So as we prepare and apply materials towards the ending, we can still try out more things. So let's just take a very quick look at what we've been able to achieve so far. We've been able to create our floor plan from scratch, our first floor, our roof plan. Now, you see this roof level, you can't necessarily see the roof right? Fine, there are two ways to do this. One way to do this is to apply the templates, like the same template of the site to it, but I don't agree with that. We can also just set the view range extent. So under extent here, you see view range, click on edit. This cut plane and this top plane is what you need to work on. So you just raise this thing up. I can set this at 10 meters and I can set the cut plane at 9 meters. Something very high, higher than the highest point in your roof. If you do that, click on apply and OK, you can see your roof plan completely. We just did that very easily. I feel like touching up the elevation a little bit. I want to double click on this to edit. I'll double click on this. Okay, I don't want to edit again. I just want to delete this specific one. Click on finish. Around here, I want to try and model something that looks like the facade finish of a column. I'm just going to try and replicate something of that nature around there. So let's do that since I've changed my roofing around there. We can use sweep to do that. So I'll start with sweep, create something like a base here, a top here, and then we can use plaster finish for all these things, or concrete, sandcrete molding in the finishes. So let's give that a try. I'll go to the floor plan and I want the casing to be somewhere around here, this way. So I would start with architecture, model in place, and call this casework. It can be a column. I'll start with sweep because I like to use sweep most times. Although in some cases you might decide to use extrusion. Sketch part, click on it. I'm in the natural ground floor, so it doesn't ask me to pick a plane. So I just need something like this over here. I'll click finish, click on edit part and go to the south elevation. Now on the south elevation, you can see what the parts, the section to where I can throw my column piece. So I'm going to just make this, let's say 150 mm. A little bit tall, like 450. Now I can give a space of like 50 mm. I'll start the second box. Now it's left for you depending on what you feel like creating. I'm just going to try and see what I can create here. So I have two lines intersecting, that's why I can use the trim button, click on it to trim it. I want to just uncheck this so that you can see what I've created as sort of the base of the column. Just clicking, okay, sorry, this is exactly where I need it to be. So after that, I'll click finish and click finish again. So I have something like this base up here. Maybe I didn't do this exactly the way I'll appreciate it. So I'm going to turn it the other way. Select it, click on rotate. Then I can click a starting point, type in 180 degrees, flip it. No, this is not what I was thinking. So possibly what I should have done is to reduce this thickness, maybe to somewhere here, so that it's not that deep. So this is like 50 mm. I think this is better. Okay. So we could do this and we could mirror it if we want. So select this. Let's say I want to mirror it to this top section. Select it, use the mirror DM axis, click on it. When you come to this edge, just try and make sure that you are selecting the midpoint. The midpoint normally appears, and something of this sort. Okay, it didn't copy yet, so we might have to do that again. I'm still designing. I'm imagining my design as I'm going. I'm not really feeling what I'm doing, so I might just want to, change it up a little bit to try and see if I can get exactly the feel I want from the column. So I think this looks a little bit better. And if I copy it up here, to this point. Sometimes I can decide to move it a little bit higher. So what I'm doing is I'm copying and then trying to, add moldings, and I'm using solid sweep to add the molding I feel like adding at this point. So So this basically is this working with sweeps and extrusion to be able to, create some kind of finish on the front column. Give it a little bit of dexterity of some sort. So the use of sweep, extrusion, and void in this kind of cases can be very beneficial. So I want to use, I might still want to, create some elements here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll go to the ground floor. I can still use sweep because it's faster for me. Yes. Sorry, I accidentally clicked on extrusion. So I'll go to create, click on sweep, click on sketch path, and then repeat the same process I just had right away. And in this case, I'll go up there and then maybe, I'll prefer the south view. So it depends on the thickness I decide. It's just like a plaster thickness of 20 mm that I have. And it depends on whether I want to have some cuts in between or just, have a slightly thicker column there. So what I want to do here is with this, I want to just create some openings on this. I will use the void to do that, like the void extrusion. So let me show you how to do that. I'll go to create, go to void forms, click on void extrusion. Because I'm on an elevation, it's going to ask me to pick a plane. So I'll go ahead and pick the plane I want. So I'll click on OK, and this is the plane. Like I taught you about planes, when you go to the edge or the face close to the edge of the plane, you should see a highlight that has more than 2 perpendicular lines or parallel lines. So about that. So once that is done, I'll click on pick lines, set my offset to minus, let's say 250. And then when I click this edge, you can see the offset at the end, but I want the offset inside. So once it's inside, I'll press the tab key, or I can just click on it one after the other. So with this, I'll use trim without cut this off. With this, I'll click finish. So what this does is, as long as you are creating it on the same face as what you created in the same family, it will know what to cut. So this is a void, and you can see it just cuts through to create an opening for me. It's something like a plaster opening. I can copy this around. So I'll go to the ground floor, and this is it. So I might want to put it here. I might want to put maybe a slightly bigger one here. So I'll copy. Make sure you uncheck constraint, and then I'll place it somewhere on this face, and I'll also place it somewhere here. So you can also easily edit it by moving this to this edge. It creates the opening that you want. So if I go to the 3D, you can see what I've created. So it's like, plaster finishes just to make my entrance very good. So once I've done this, you can select each of these components can have a different material finish as you choose it to be. You can select all of them also. And I can decide to duplicate this material, rename it, and then maybe just use it in the access. So in case I want to have a different material for it. So this is how we can do this, just make it much more contemporary. And you can click on finish. So before I click on finish, I can decide to mirror this. So I can go to ground floor, select this as a whole, Now, when mirroring some of these elements, as we may find out, sometimes there might be some errors. Good. So, sorry, when I'm mirroring, I forgot to check the copy because I turned it off earlier in this project. Fine. So there might be some errors, and most of the errors might be that the cuts may not, the void pattern may not cut. So what you do, you can just select this cut geometry here, this icon here, click on it, select the cut pattern, select the element to recut those ones that did not cut. So you see we have this. I forgot to mirror this particular one, so I'll go down, select it on my ground floor. I can also use peak mirror axis because I know this is the center and it's also going to mirror it. Just one more thing on my elevation for me to finish up. I feel I also need to maybe do something here too with regards to this kind of openings. So just to make it much more fanciful. So I'd go to the roof fascia level. I'd still do create, I'll sweep, just repeat the same process over and over again. So the main reason I'm repeating this is, you know, as you keep trying it and you keep watching me do it, you get the process ingrained more and more, and you don't need to worry about ever forgetting it. So the fact that it's being repeated over and over again, I think will help you get it right. So you click on edit. Now on your elevation, I'll click on this line to start drawing. Now you ask me, wait, it did not ask you for a plane. You know, I've drawn on the same plane in this elevation over and over again. So it just did not ask me for a plane. But if in this case where you really want to work in a plane, you can say show the plane so that you'll be sure of the plane you are working on. You can also go to 3D view and you can see what plane you are working on. So you can see possibly this is what I'm drawing on this particular line in this elevation. So once I draw it here, it's going to run through. So it's already on the right plane because I've done 1 or 2 jobs there before in this same project. So all I need is just some protrusions here and there. So the idea here is you can look for some good inspiration around where you can do or get some ideas of this. I need to trim, TR for trim. I would trim to make sure I don't have any lines. Okay, look at it. Those are the 2 lines that didn't meet. So this is what I have, and I'll click on create to create a void extrusion. Click on void extrusion to ask you to pick a plane. So I'm on the edge now, but it's just picking one line. So I'm going to use the tab key. I pressed it once and it's picking the whole face, and that is good. So I'll use rectangle. I might want something like this, or might just want an opening in the middle here. So it depends on what I just feel like creating. But I'm sure by now you get the point, and that is good. I can select this tool. I'm using the mirror tool, the mirror item, when I create something on the left, just to mirror it to the right so that it looks balanced, as long as you know where the center of that element is. So if I want, I can create on this both sides too. If I select this material, this component here, you can see the material here. You can come here, click once in the middle, use Ctrl A to select everything. Type in Ctrl C, select this other material, just click here in the middle, click Ctrl A and then Ctrl V. Sorry. So I'm just going to select this Ctrl V. It's refusing to copy, but it's not between family and project. It's still the same family. Okay, let me see. I'll select this. click on this material icon, sorry, click on this other one, not the one at the edge. It's already selected, so I'm just going to apply it. So I'll click finish, and then let's go to the 3D view. We can see how the elevation of the building is coming out with all the moldings we've been able to achieve on the elevation. One thing again I would like to introduce is wall review. This wall review in Revit is, let me see if I can share this with you. So you can see this kind of elements where we have wall reviews, you know, this recesses on the walls. So we can do that in Revit. There are several ways to do that. So let's explore that. So we'll go to wall under architecture, click on the down arrow and come to wall review. Now, once the reveal is active, if it is not on the wall, it's going to show the no sign. But once it's on the wall, you are going to see the reveal. Now, you click on edit type here before you place the reveal. You can decide to, let's say, duplicate to create another reveal. It's going to ask you maybe what size, what name. So let's say if I have a reveal for 30 mm, I can just name this reveal 30 mm. And then there are two settings here. One is the setback, one is the profile. And so we have some within the template I shared with us to use at the beginning of this tutorial series. So I'm just going to leave it at this 50 by 35 mm deep review. I don't have any issue with the setback. I'm leaving it at 0. At 0 is going to be half in, half out. So I'll click OK. Now, this is a trick I like to use for my review. I know I want to use the reveal on the outer walls. So I'm just going to click and place the reveal on an existing level, like on the walls, on the level I want to place them. And that's what I'm doing now. And because it's easier to place there, then when I'm done placing it exactly all where I want to place it, I'll just copy it up. So I'll go to 3D. Click on the 3D icon. You can also go to the 3D from this icon because Revit has a lot of tabs as you walk. I'll just go to this place. It's still active. Now, when you are placing a reveal and you get to a point where reveal is before, a dotted line shows. So just going to click this on this face. There is a lag between when you place the reveal and when the reveal finally shows up, but not a serious lag. So it depends on you. Just wait a second, you get it. So now I've placed the reveal all on this level where I want it. I can select this, sorry, I double clicked on the wall and trying to select the reveal. I can go back to my front elevation. Make sure I'm selecting the reveal like it shows now. I'll right click. I'll go to select all instances visible in view. So I've selected all the reveal that I think are in the project. I guess so. Or I can say select all the instances in entire projects. So I've selected all the reveal I just created. I want to array it from here to maybe the top where I want the reveal to end. So I'm just going to click on this array button. The shortcut is AR, so I'll double click on it. And then do some settings here. So it's either you set to the last or you set to the second. So what this means is this. I'm setting it to the last. While arraying, I'll copy, click once here, move it to the last point where I want the reveal to be, maybe somewhere around here, and click OK. So what this does is that it's going to create any number of reveal I put here is what is going to create in between here and here. So I'm just going to put, let's say 12 and click enter. And so it's going to maybe load depending on how fast your system is. So you see we've created the reveals all around. So this is a very easy, quick way to create a wall reveal. If I go to the 3D, you can see what we've created. I can click these consistent colors. So you can see that. Now, I have an issue. There is this particular review here on top. So that's not continuous. I can just select this on group. I've created the reviews already, so no need. And when you select one review, you can see some drag points at the edge that can allow you to drag to another end point on the review. So you can use this to just extend those previews. So this one did not extend. So I think because there are different walls there, I can just select this review, type CS, and create one at that point. So I've been able to create the wall review, and this is the way to create them on your views. So I can go ahead to work some more on this elevation by extending these items if I wish to, this particular sweep. I can also put window hoods using the sweep the same way I've done this, and make the elevation much more better. So this is looking good. But what I'm just going to do possibly maybe is to put a band around the middle of the wall. So that can be done. So let's give it a try. I'll go to the first floor. Maybe this band would enable me to possibly use 2 colors or something of that nature in between. I'll go to the first floor, and I would click on Component, Model in Place. I can select it as a casework this time. Click OK. And then I'll click on Sweep, and then click on Sketch Path, and go through this process again. I'm sure by now you would be very acquainted with creating the sweep tool in Revit, since we've used it quite a number of times, and it really works. So let me say I want to just do this in between. I don't want to run it all the way, but I want to stop it somewhere here. So this is a cantilever already, so I don't even feel it's very necessary running the protrusion around a cantilever, because the cantilever is already cantilevered. So, it's easy to make a change there. So I can just drag this line, stop it somewhere here, and then click on OK. It's going to ask me that there is more than one loop. I think I've drawn more than one line somewhere. I'll look for it, select delete, click on finish, go to the south elevation. Either I go to the south elevation or Revit will still take me there, and click edit profile, and then we'll start sketching. So it's left for me to look for something small to sketch, like a band, something of that nature. Click finish, and then check out what I've done. So this is sort of like a band just to separate the colors. I can decide to copy this out and have something like that here if I so please. So let's do that. I'll go to the first floor, select this. I can just decide to mirror it. Now I know it's not exactly on the wall. It doesn't matter. I can use the align tool, click on the destination, click on it, double click on it, and double click on the line again to get it into edit mode. Once it's in edit mode, you use your sketch tool to then burn this one. So once you create this element, by default, they come with no materials, so you have to apply materials to them. So they come without materials, so you have to apply materials to them. So if we select them under material here, by category, click there, it opens up this, so we can duplicate, create a new material, and then apply the material. Click finish. So this is what we have so far in our modeling, and we started from scratch to this point. So I feel this is okay for my elevation. It's the design, so I'm sharing the tools, I'm also designing, but we would leave it at this point. And in the next video, we will continue with planning our site environment and then start working on our presentation layout. and packaging it on sheet so that we can present to the client.